This conference will now be recorded.
Vipul, we're not able to hear you.
You are in mute, I think.
Oh, I am on mute. Huh? Okay, sorry. Okay, then I will stop the recording.
This conference will now be recorded.
Yesterday we have seen like how what is region, okay, and what is availability zone, and now right we will be discussing on like how to create an instance in an EC2. Okay, EC2 stands for Elastic Cloud Compute. Okay, this is a service which provides the provisioning of the instances. Instances means some machines. some OSs. Okay, so let us assume like if I want to create an instance in like different region like Mumbai or some other thing, right, Hong Kong or whatever, right, I have to go to that particular region. I have to select something like here. I have to select the region over here, and I have to launch an instance in that particular region. Then my instance will be created in Mumbai. So like that, if I want to create in Hong Kong, then I have to, if I want to select in create an instance in Singapore, no, then I have to click on this. I have to change my region basically. I have to click on this Singapore, then I have to start creating my instance. For now, right, I will go with the Northern Virginia. So in Northern Virginia, right, whatever the code deployments that Amazon has, right, first they will be deploying in the Northern Virginia. So the all the latest updates and all those will be present here. Post this is successful, then only they will put it into other things. Okay, other regions. So as I mentioned earlier, right, so actually like Amazon provides like OSs in terms of like Amazon, sorry, AMIs. AMIs are nothing but Amazon Machine Image. Okay, so like basically it supports like multiple OS variants like Amazon Linux, Mac, Red Hat, SUSE Linux. Like there are around like 41 pages over there. Like let us assume like if I want to search for uh, something like Linux only. So I will be presented with all the varieties of Linux. If I search for Windows, then I will be presented with like different variants of Windows. Okay, so like it is like base server. This is something like Windows Server 2019 with SQL Server Enterprise. Like that, you will be having a number of versions. Okay, while creating instances, you should make sure like we should have a tag with free tier eligible. Okay, then only you won't be charged basically. If you select any other instance, let us assume if I select this instance, right, then I will be charged. Okay, so for now, and there is one more, as I mentioned, there is one more or checkbox over here. If I check this, right, I'll be getting all the free tier eligible. Okay, now I will go with whatever comes with the default. Okay, I will be selecting the Linux over here. Okay, this is the instance type. So instance type in the sense like, as you know, right, every application will have its own hardware and software configuration. So like let us assume like if I want some 8 GB RAM and some 4 vCPU, right, so in your office, right, you will buy those in the physical hardware, right, based on your need you will configure. But in Amazon, right, what you have to do, they will have a predefined template or predefined instance type. So they will call like something like uh, T2 micro, because here if you see, right, instance family, there are like n number of instances. Okay, so there will be like T1, T2, T3, T4 and C1, F1. So everything has its own specification. Let us assume, right, there will be, as you know, there will be three types of applications. One is like CPU intensive, one is memory intensive, and one is storage intensive. Correct? So if it is a storage intensive, right, then you will use it for database. Correct or not? Which has like more hard disk in terms of hard disk, right? Actually, I will take a note. Give me a second. Split is something like this one. One is general purpose. These general purpose instances, right? These actually this is a good choice actually. It will have all the configuration in terms of CPU and memory. Okay, if you are running some any web server or something, right, these general purpose instances are very good. So in that, right, you will be having something like A1. Here you are having A1, right? You will be having A1 and M5 okay, M5 and T3, okay. So these types of instances you will be having. I'm not going to go in detail, just will have like the category wise, okay. Second thing is you will be having like compute optimized. Compute optimized is it will have more CPU. Let us assume like if you are or it will have more CPU or like in terms of processing power. Let us assume like if your application needs like more processing power, right? Then you have to go with the compute optimized instances. Okay. And third one would be the memory. Memory optimized. In term memory optimized, right? Means you will be having more RAM. Got? So memory intensive applications means they require more RAM, right? So it is like memory intensive. And fourth one is like accelerated computing. It will have additional hardware in terms of GPU, right? So for gaming and all those, right? For some video editing or some like which consumes more CPU, sorry, more processing power, some instances need no. For that, then you will go for the accelerated computing. And fifth one would be, as I told, storage optimized. So storage optimized means, as the name says, it is storage. Storage in the sense like there will be like in storage, for storage there will be something like IOPS, input output operations per second. So for databases, right, we should select a hard disk or some instances which are having more IOPS. Okay, the disk rate will be, there will be some different types of disk, if you know, like you will be having SSD and HSD, right? So in the same way, because like SSD will be faster, in the same way even for the disk, if a instance is having more IOPS, right, the performance will be better while writing the data from the to the disk. Means when you are writing let us assume it has some um database server, no, then if you the read and write will be faster. Got it? Okay. So actually there will be one more thing, right here. This is the family, as I mentioned, like each and everything will have one family. Okay, like it is as I mentioned, like A1, okay, and T3, something like that. Everything will have some category over here. Okay, and here this is the category. And what is the type of instance? Let us assume like I will take T2. In T2 instance, I am having something like nano, micro, small, medium. So here for each and every category there will be some hardware and hardware configuration. So it comes with 1 vCPU and 0.5 GB of RAM. Okay, and you will be having some, what is the network behavior? Let us assume, let us take some C4. So here they will specify, like here if you say C4, for a C4 XLR G8 machine I am getting some 36 vCPU and 60 GB of RAM. Okay, and I'm getting a network of 10 gig. Like that you have to select our instances. For now I am selecting T2 micro. This free tier eligible. Okay, you got it. If it is a free tier eligible, then you won't be charged. If you choose other instances, right, you will be charged. Okay, every time you have to check make sure like you are checking the free eligible instance or the configuration or the instance type. Then I'm navigating to the basically like configure instance details page. So basically, right, there will be around like six configuration. First one is like we have to choose the EMI. Second thing is right, we have to choose the instance type like T2 micro or C5 or whatever, and we have to configure the instance, and you have to add the storage, and you have to add the tags, and you have to configure the security group, and at last you will find the review. And when you click on launch, you will be presented with the username, password, as well as the, I mean, like you will be getting the IP of that machine. Okay, now first thing is like how many instances you need here. Let us assume if I put some two, then automatically right, two instances will be created, and we will be getting the two IPs over here. For now I am taking only one. Okay, now we will discuss about this purchasing options later. And here there is something like network. What is this network? Network, in network we will select in which network you have to create the instance. So as I mentioned, network in the sense, let us assume like I have selected one region. Okay, this is my region. Okay, my office is present in my region, like my company is having ABC. Okay, my company is ABC. Okay, and I want to create it in Mumbai region. In that, in my company, right, I am having some, it is a service based company, and I am having some three projects. Okay, which are like, let us assume like these are like ODCs. ODC1, ODC2, ODC3. Okay, now here I am choosing, and this will be a logically separated network now in my region, correct or not? This will be separated, and this will be separated, and this will be separated. Let us assume this is a financial, this is insurance, and this is healthcare. You won't communicate from this machine to this machine, right? So these are logically separated. So when I tell network means this is the network. Here currently I'm having only one VPC, virtual private cloud. Basically, right, if you are having three projects, right, in one region, we'll create three VPCs over here. This is for ODC1. We'll create another network for VPC, VPC2, and this is the VPC3. So here I will be selecting in which instance or in which network I'm creating my instance. Okay, here I will be selecting in which network, that is called as the VPC. Currently I am creating in a default VPC. Okay, and as I mentioned, here these are all the available. Subnet is nothing but these are all the availability zones. Okay, so in which, as I mentioned, yesterday, here mm, in region will have multiple availability zones, right? One region will have multiple availability zones. Basically, let us assume like here this is one more availability zone, and this is one more availability zone. Why we will have availability zone means, let us assume like this machine gets, like this data center is down by any chance. Okay, let us assume like this data center is down. Okay, and if you have the similar setup in availability zone 2, right, then this will this availability zone will support the load whenever we had a failure in the other. This is for resilience purpose. Okay, here that's why you are selecting the availability zone. We can just select any availability zone over here. Currently, right, this Default VPC is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 availability zones. Okay. Now auto assign public IP. So if we select this option, right, automatically whenever the instance is created, the public IP will be assigned to it. Okay. And if you see one more thing, what is the shutdown behavior? Shutdown behavior is something like whenever I stop and whenever I shut down my instance, whether the instance should be stopped or terminated. Okay, if you select the terminate option, right, whenever you stop the instance, right, automatically after some time the instance will be deleted. So for now, right, I'm selecting the stop. Okay, and there is one more thing called like monitoring. So what happens, right, as part of our free tier account, right, Amazon will provide 10 CloudWatch metrics, means like CPU or what is the network, those things we have to monitor, no? So by default we will have access to only 10 CloudWatch metrics. Okay, so if you want to enable CloudWatch metrics, like, and the metric will be pulled for every 1 minute. So for every 1 minute, the AWS will collect the metric like CPU or network from that machine and it will store. So if you want to make it like get the data with some minor granularity, like within 10 seconds or 5 seconds, right, then you have to select this option. If you select this option, right, you will be charged. Okay.
Vibhu, one question about the failure of availability zones, right? How would it the other availability zones pick up in case of a failure?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
done? Yeah.
So those things, right, when we are doing this ASG automatic scaling group, right, then we'll create two instances in different available seed zones and we'll terminate. I will show that exercise in our future classes. Okay, when we are discussing on load balancing and all those, right, then I will be showing a demo on that.
Okay.
Okay, basically, right, what we have to do, right, you have to configure the ASG group. Okay, that is the advanced topic that will come. You will understand during that time. Okay.
Okay.
In some next 3 or 4 classes you will get that. Okay, so by this, if you select, right, I will be charged, but this will give an enhanced monitoring, like it will collect all the metrics. Okay, there is something like by default, right, we are getting only one interface. Let us assume, like, if you want to add another interface for that instance, right, you can click device and you can add it over there. Okay, this user data and all those we'll see in the next. Second is the next option would be the adding the storage. Okay, so by default, right, I will be allocated for when I'm creating a T2 micro, I am allocated 8 GB of RAM. Okay, if I want to run one project, so if you take a Linux box, okay, you will be having root partition, you will be having these partitions, right, mount points, different mount points, like slash backups or slash application one. Okay, slash something like where, yes or no, like normally how you have C drive, D drive, right, or E drive, similar way by default, right, here AWS will provide like some root partition of around like 8 GB. So let us assume, like, if you want to add one more hard disk to it, right, then we have to click on the attach volume. So there are like this is the elastic block storage, and this is the device basically. So this is the device name. Okay, so here I can give like I can configure my hard disk over here. Let us assume like if I want some 100 GB, okay, I can type my 100 GB. And there are like, as I mentioned in during my general purpose storage optimized, if you see here, right, there are different types of volumes. One is like general purpose SSD, and provisioned IOPS, and cooled, and magnetic, and throughput optimized. So these are the different variants of disk types that are available in the AWS. So if you take, let's assume like I'm taking some general purpose. Okay, I will take GP2. So here this is the IOPS configuration. Okay, so here if I put configure 1 GB, if you see I am getting some 100 IOPS. These IOPS will vary as we increase the disk. Means if I have some 10 GB, it will have some threshold like this: minimum, okay, minimum IOPS and maximum IOPS. Even if you, and this rate, how will it will increase, right? If you increase your hard disk, if you increase the capacity, then the IOPS will increase up to a threshold limit. Okay, for this general purpose, right, maximum you will get 3000 IOPS. Okay, so let us assume I'm putting 100. I got around like 300 IOPS. Okay, now I'm putting some 300. You see, I'm getting some 900. Means for 1 GB, okay, I'm getting 3 IOPS. Okay, I'll change it to 100 GB. Okay, I'm getting 3 IOPS. Let us assume if I take provisioned IOPS with the same configuration, you see, I'm getting some 5000. Here, 1 GB is equivalent to 50 IOPS. Got it? If I put 10, basically, one second. So, got it? In this with the same configuration, what I will do, right? I will select something like throughput optimized. So here, right, whenever it is throughput optimized, right, I'm not getting IOPS. Here I'm getting the bandwidth, how many Mbps I can support. So the baseline is something like 500 MB per TB. Got it? Like that, we have to select our configuration. Currently, right, and there will be something like delete on termination. So delete on termination means, let us assume like I'm having some C drive and D drive. I've created some, I'm creating a Windows instance. On top of it, right, I have created C drive and D drive, and I'm deleting the instance. So what, and in my D drive, right, I am having all my, like I have installed MySQL server on my D drive. So what will happen whenever I delete an instance, right? All the data or the partition will get deleted, no? If you uncheck this option, right, what will happen now? This partition will be still exist. We can spin new instance and add this partition. Got it? Clear this one?
Yes.
So even if you delete the instance, your partitions won't get deleted. And there will be one option like whether you have to encrypt the device or not. If you have a certificate over here, right, then you can select the certificate and encrypt the data. So currently I am deleting. I don't want to add this because it will add additional storage cost for me. So I am deleting. If you add a hard disk, right, it will be chargeable. Just for configuration, I have shown it. And next is tags. Tags means, let us assume like if you want to map your resources, you are running some 5 projects. Okay, you are running some 2 projects in AWS in your with one account. Okay, with one master account, with one account I'm running 2 projects. So I should know like what are the instances that are part of project 1 and the instances that are part of project 2. So here I have to use the tags to map that. Okay, so here I can give some label like project. Okay, then this is just a tagging. If you have some device, if you purchase something, right, as you will have the price tag or something, right, as a category, you can, this is something like a category. If you want to fetch instances, right, in search, if you give this, right, you will get that all the instances that are part of this category. Okay, next is security group. Okay, this one you listen carefully. So this is internet. Okay, this is the security group. Okay, and this is my EC2 instance. So there will be like 2 types of traffic. One is inbound. Second one is the outbound. Inbound traffic is something, the traffic which is coming to the EC2 instance. Okay, outbound traffic is something which is coming out of the EC2 instance. Let us assume like I'm giving a HTTP request. Okay, I'm giving something like SSH I'm doing. Okay, there will be different types of protocols, right? SSH, HTTP, okay, FTP. Okay, these are all the protocols basically. So let us assume like using SSH, or you can use RDP also for a Windows system for doing the remote desktop. So by default, right, all the inbound traffic, right, will be restricted. By default, for any EC2 instance, all the inbound traffic will be restricted. Okay, and all the outbound traffic will be allowed. Means I can't do any communication. I can't do SSH. I can't, if even if my web server is installed in this, I won't be able to send the request to the EC2 instance. Okay, even if it is a Windows machine, I can't do a MSTSC. Got it? So we have to configure the inbound rules. Here, right, we have to add some rules over here. Got it? So there will be like different types of rules. Like let us assume like what are the protocols you want to enable basically. So let us assume if you want to enable HTTP, I can give HTTP. If I want to log into that Linux machine, then I can give something like SSH. Okay. Now let us assume like in my EC2 instance, I am configuring MySQL server. For that, right, I have to enable, like you will be having some different protocols over here, right? MySQL. So that will allow this port basically 3306. For Arkill, if I install Arkill now, then I have to install the 1521. Got it? So you have to enable the, by default everything will be restricted. So you have to enable the corresponding in protocol or the port. Let us assume like you don't know what is the port. Okay, there will be something like custom protocol. In that custom protocol, you will give that what to say, that protocol name, and and if you want to allow all the traffic, right, I can select all traffic. So we have to precisely mention like which port you want to open. Got it? If it is a TCP or a UDP also, you can mention over here. So like if you are running some LDAP server, right, then you have to configure the LDAP, something like that. And here, right, this is the source. So the restriction, right, to which now I have opened the port, whether I want to access it from anywhere or I can give my IP over here. There will be two configurations. So this is my IP. If I select my IP, right, then it will automatically detect my IP. Okay. Now, or if you want to give some cider, like something like a 14, if you are having a specific network, right, you can give that network also. Okay, for now, right, I'm selecting only anywhere, and I will be deleting all these things, and I will be configuring only SSH. As I'm creating a Linux instance to log in into this machine, I'm enabling only the SSH protocol which runs on 22, and I can access it from anywhere. You understood what is this one, security group? Because people will get confused.
Understood.
So basically agenda is like whatever the protocol you want, that needs to be enabled to access that. Now here, so it will just give you like what is the instance that we have created and what is the security group, and it will give you the details of the instances. Okay, and what is the storage, and whenever you click on launch, right, what will happen, right? So once you have creating an instance, right, you should have some username and password to log into that machine, correct? But in AWS, right, you will be getting one key pair. Using this key pair only, we will be able to log in into that machine. Okay, there won't be providing like explicitly some username. Sorry, they won't be providing some username and password by default, right? For Linux machine, the default username is ec2-user, and the password would be your key. Now, using this key pair, I will be generating one perm file. Okay, private key. Got it? So there will be two options. One is like choose an existing key pair. Let us assume like if you have created one key pair, using that key pair, you can log in into that multiple instances. Let us assume like you are having one environment. Okay, you are having in your test environment, you will be having some 10 servers. Okay, using one key pair, using one key, you can log in into this all these 10 machines. That is one possibility. Second would be creating a new pair, new key pair. If you select this option and if you provide your some name, day one, and if you click on download, right, then your key pair will be downloaded. Okay, using this key pair, you will be able to log into that EC2 instance. Okay, now, and there is one more option over here which is like proceed without keeper, that we want to use. Okay, if you create an instance automatically for testing purposes, right, then we can create this proceed without key pair. But it is something like you are creating an instance without username and password. Okay, that is not possible. So I have downloaded my key pair and I'm clicking on launch instance. So my instance is getting created. This is my instance name. Okay, this is the instance ID or whatever. This is the unique ID for that particular instance. And here you will be having something like launch log. In that it is showing like both are successful. Okay, now if I click on my launch instance, right, then I will be going back to the EC2 instance page where you will be having the public IP and all the details. Okay, now my instance is running. Health status is not yet ready. It will be in pending, I believe. Yeah, initializing. So here this is the refresh page. If you click on instance, right, here you will be able to see. So here in details tab you will be able to see the instance ID. What is the public IP? If I want to log into this, every instance will have two IPs basically. One is public, here this is my EC2 instance. Okay, this is one something like I0 I hyphen something which I have created. For this, right, there will be like two IPs. One is like public IP, second would be the private IP. Private IP is the IP which is used by AWS to communicate with the other instances that is present in the AWS. Okay, let us assume like I'm having some 3 instances in cloud. So for it's, if it wants to communicate to other instance, right, then if it gives public IP, what it will happen? Let us assume like there are two boxes over here. Okay, two instances over here, both are having public and private. Both are having public and private. If I search with public IP for this machine, what it will go? It will has to go to internet and then it has to come back. Correct or not?
Yes.
If it is a private instance, right, then both can communicate with each other without going outside the network. Okay, both can communicate within the subnet only. So that's why for your configuration purposes, like if you're having app server or dev server, sorry, app server or DB server or any other HTTP servers, right? If you have a cluster of IPs, for you will be using the private IP for internal communication. If you want to access it, let us assume like you are having some web server, application server, DB server. So you will be assigning the public IP only to the web server. And all the internal communication will, once the request reaches using the public IP, once the request reaches this web server, no, this will forward to the application server using the private IP and it will contact the DB server using the private IP. So end user will know only the public IP to which he will send the request, but the internal communication across that AWS network, whatever VPC you have created, no, will happen internally. You can give the, for internal communication, you can give the internal IPs over here. Got it? So this is the DNS name. This is the IPv4 DNS and this is the private IP DNS. And this is the instance type. Okay. And If you go to security, right, I was mentioning about the rules, no? This is the security group which I have created, okay, which enables only, if you see, now we are having inbound rules and outbound rules. I have created only inbound rules, like to allow 22 to open the port 22, correct? Automatically my outbound rule is created, which will allow all the traffic outside. If you want to edit outbound rules, you can do it over here. Got it? So if you have a specific requirement to enable, even like configure the outbound rules, you can configure somewhere here. Got it? So this is the, one second here, I will go back to this one. So this is what I mentioned, like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, something like 10 you will have over here. Okay, you will be presented with some CloudWatch metrics over here. You will be able to get some, as I mentioned, now when I enable like enhanced monitoring, then I will be, now I'm getting only CPU, right? I will be getting other stats also. Currently the data will be collected for every 1 minute. Okay, there will be a delay. If you see here, right, you are, even though I started the instance 2 minutes or 3 minutes back, I'm getting only one pointer, one counter over here. So for enhanced monitoring, during the performance testing, they will be enabling the enhanced monitoring. Okay, here you can check the health status. This is the storage, whatever we have configured, that will be present over here. So like tomorrow, right, what we will do, right, we'll try to log in into that machine. Now we have got some private key, right? Using this private key, right, actually some steps needs to be followed if you want to access the machine from Windows. Okay, for now, right, we will do it on the Linux machine. Okay, I will go to one Linux machine. Actually, this is one Linux machine which is present in some other cloud, not AWS. Okay, so one second, I will just copy my, I will stop this screen share. Let me copy the key to desktop. Okay, so here I am having my key. Where is notepad? Just a second. Okay, I'll set this. Download. So basically, why it is taking so long? Okay. So if I take notepad, no, that key I can show that So normally what command we have to use, right? SSH, okay, -I, okay. This will, here I have to provide my key over here. Like means like my, okay, -key pair, and the user -user. This is the default user, okay, to log into any Linux machine. And here I have to provide my credentials, sorry, my IP. I have to, there will be two types of IPs over here. Here I should not provide the private IP, I should provide my public IP. Private IP won't be accessible from internet. Okay, like this we have to log into the TC2 machines. This is a new laptop. Actually, I'm unable to open. Normally you will have some option, no? Okay. Okay, I'm copying this one. Okay, I have to edit it and copy. Here in my Linux machine, right, I have to create one file. Vim, I will give something like key.pem. Okay, and I will open the text editor. I will copy paste whatever I have got it over here. Okay, then I have to change the permission to chmod. Wait, just give me a second. Just give me a second. Chmod. I can give 400 and I have to give the key pair name. Now the same command I will be using, and I will be replacing this key pair with my key.pem. So I have to give yes over here. See, I have logged into my EC2 Linux instance. Got it? And this is the public, this is the private IP of that. And I have logged in as a EC2 user. And you won't have all the privileges to execute the administrator commands. So I want to log in as a root. Then what I have to do, right? I have to give su-i or su sudo -i. If I give, right, I am getting the hash prompt. Now I am as an root user, I will be having all the privileges. Now I can use yum update to update the packages. So I think, or okay, so I can execute the administrative commands over here. Got it?
Okay, but we didn't get how to log in using the private key.
So that's what. Oh, you want me to explain again?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So there are two modes of logins basically. One is like if you are logging into a Windows, right, the approach would be different. If you are logging via Linux machine or a Mac machine, the approach would be different. Okay. So step one, First step is generate key pair. This will be created while launching instance, right?
Yeah.
Second, open .form file and copy the content. Copy the key. Okay. Third thing, right? As you are on a Linux machine, open any text editor and copy the content of the pump file. Okay. Then I have to give something like SSH. Once that is copied, then chmod. I will giving like 600 or like 400. Okay. This is 400. Else, right, the key won't get accepted, or you can give 600, but basically, right, we have to give the read permission. Okay, 4 is for read. Okay, then you have to give the file name. Okay, next I have to give ssh-i and I have to give the file name or pump. I will give some. So hyphen user. Okay, at some public IP. Okay, these are the steps. I will show it again just for reference. I'm putting in the chat window. So these are the basic steps. So we'll do it again. First thing is right, I should open that key. Okay. First step is like I have to edit it. Open with some notepad or notepad plus, anything should be fine. I have to copy the content. First step. First step is copy the key pair. Next step is open .pump file and copy the key. Now I have copied my key over here. Okay. Next I have to go to my Linux machine. Okay. This is my Linux machine. Vim, using Vim, this is the text editor. Using Vim, I am creating a new file. My new file name is like key1.pum. Okay. Now I am copy pasting. I have copy pasted my key. Okay. Second activity is done. Third, on a Linux machine, this is done, right? Third step also done. Now I have to change the permission. I have to give chmod 400 key1.pum. Okay, now I have changed my permission of that file. Now fourth is ssh-i. I have to give the file name, means that pum file name, and you have to mention the username and password for connecting to that machine. So here I am now having the password. So ssh -I will accept the key basically. Key1 dot perm. Okay, now I have provided my password. Then I have to provide my username also, right? EC2 hyphen user. This will be default username for logging into the any AWS hosted Linux machine. Is EC2 hyphen user at my public IP. If I go to my EC2 instance, I will be having public IP over here. So I can use my public DNS also for logging to that machine. For now, I am using the public IP. So now I have logged into this Linux. Previously, I'm having some root user, right? This is the root and this is the host name. Now, when I logged into the machine, it is showing me like last login is performed on this time, and here it is giving me this banner now and EC2 user at this IP. Now sudo -i. This is the normal user basically. Okay, this won't have many privileges like deletions or some. If you want to do some configuration, this user won't have privileges. So if I want to switch you to root user, or if I want to get that administrative access, right, I have to issue su-i to gain the root access. Root access means I will be getting the hash prompt, whereas for a normal user, I will be getting the dollar prompt. So if you see in both the cases, right, I will be using -i option for gaining the access. Here I can use like for providing the password, right, I'm just using -i. Here I no need to specify any key or something, just I will be granted with the root user access. Tomorrow, right, we will see, you will create an instance and we will log in via Windows machine. Okay, you need to log in via putty, and you should also change that key pair. Okay, we have to generate some ppk file. It is not straightforward in Windows. Any doubts? Now you are clear, Deepa?
Yeah, well, thank you.